3rd of February, a man drives to his office at the Pan Am building in New York City as usual. In 10 minutes, he's going to be dead. It is 8 a.m. and he's the first to arrive at United Brand's executive offices. He goes to his own corner office on the 44th floor, a small and unassuming one for the head of a major company. He recently acquired United Brands, a struggling company he hoped to turn around, but the acquisition didn't go as planned, leading to deepening losses. As the losses mount, the man is in a downward spiral, struggling to avoid financial ruin. He enters his office, closes the door, and raises the blinds. Then he swings his briefcase against a glass window with enough force to shatter it. He climbs onto the ledge and leaps, plummeting 44 stories to the ground below. This man was Eli Black, Leon Black's father. Beneath the glitz and glamour of Leon Black's billionaire persona lies a dark secret. A secret that, if revealed, would destroy his carefully crafted image. Whispers of shady deals and illicit payouts have grown louder, and Black knows that time is running out. If he wants to keep the truth from coming to light, he has no time to spare. Everything is at stake, but Black is a man who thrives on uncertainty, and he's determined to do whatever it takes to protect his legacy, even if it means playing a deadly game of cat and mouse with his enemies. Leon Black's life seems straight out of a storybook. Growing up, he has everything a young boy could dream of: prestigious schools, high-profile events, and luxurious vacations. His father's success in business had given him a life of privilege and opportunity. But now, his world is torn asunder. The untimely death of his father impacts Leon deeply, engulfing him in a shroud of grief and despair. As Leon struggles to come to terms with the enormity of his loss, he feels the weight of responsibility bearing down upon him. Leon Black now realizes that he's the man of the family, and he knows what he must do now. Instead of letting his grief consume him, he turns it into fuel for success. He knows that he must succeed, not just for himself, but also for his father. He's going to build a financial empire that will disrupt the industry, a private equity firm that will rival Blackstone. The pressure is on, and he feels it with every breath he takes. But he's not afraid of the challenge. In fact, he welcomes it. Shortly after graduating, Leon is hired by Michael Milken, the junk bond king, whom we have also produced a documentary on, to work at Drexel, Burnham, Lambert.
Who was this Pied Piper of corporate paper, this king of junk bonds?
Icon of the day is Michael Milken, named one of the 75 most influential people of the 21st century.
What's a junk bond?
A junk bond is simply a low-rated, high-yield, high-percentage rate bond where you are funding a company in exchange for you're putting up, say, $100, and the company agrees to pay you back, say, a 13% or 14% interest rate, as opposed to, say, the 8% that you might get on a bank CD. But you don't have any insurance on it. You don't have the same type of good credit quality that a Coca-Cola might give you or an IBM might give you.
Michael Milken is a master of this world. He knows the ins and outs of the junk bond market like the back of his hand, and he has a talent for identifying undervalued companies with the potential for explosive growth. Leon starts as an associate in the mergers and acquisitions department, but his razor-sharp mind and unrelenting ambition propels him to the top of the firm. As the managing director, he works closely with Milken and is regarded as his right-hand man. Leon can't help but be captivated by Michael Milken. He is fascinated by Milken's success, and he sees the potential for enormous profits in the junk bond market. But as he gets caught up in Milken's orbit, absorbing his teachings like a sponge, Leon starts to see the lines between legal and illegal becoming blurred, and Leon Black soon realizes that great success comes at a cost. However, great success does not have to come at a monetary cost, because recently tech careers have been looking more and more attractive. That's why I was so happy to come across Course Careers and give you guys a little freebie. If you want to start a high-paying career in the tech industry but don't have previous experience or a degree, then Course Careers is here to help. They're replacing college as the modern way people are starting careers, and it's quite simple. All you do is go through an affordable online course where you learn everything required to actually do the job. Then they help you land a position by partnering with a wide range of tech companies who are hiring from them. Check out some of their stories of people like Kyle, who went from being a 37-year-old assembly line worker in Indiana pressing buttons with no degree to making over $150K in a medical technology sales career. Or Della, who served duty in the military and didn't know what to do afterward, to making over $100K as a cybersecurity tech sales rep working fully remote. Go to coursecareers.com, link is in the description, to sign up for their free introduction course where you'll learn exactly how you can start a high-paying technology career without a degree or previous experience. The year is 1986 and Michael Milken and his team at Drexel Burnham Lambert are about to pull off one of the biggest deals in Wall Street history. The target, Beatrice Foods.
100% pure Tropicana orange juice tastes fresher, even closer to the orange.
They couldn't.
They did.
Fresher Tropicana tastes closer to the orange. We have Beatrice.
There's a time for peanuts. How musty Joe.
A massive conglomerate with a portfolio of food and consumer products. It's a challenging acquisition target. Borrowing big bucks to snatch up a company in a leveraged buyout can have a huge payoff. But if that newly acquired business doesn't generate enough revenue to pay off the debt, the consequences can be catastrophic. It's a high-risk, high-reward game, and only the bravest are willing to play. At the forefront of this high-stakes deal is none other than Leon Black himself. Black pores over numbers, his mind working at lightning speed as he searches for ways to maximize returns for Drexel's clients. Their fate rests in his hands as he hunts for the best investment opportunities and negotiates favorable terms. The clock is ticking and the pressure is mounting. As the days pass and the deal begins to take shape, tension rises to a fever pitch. However, Black remains calm and collected while working around the clock to ensure that everything goes according to plan. Finally, after weeks of intense negotiations and sleepless nights, the deal is done. Beatrice Foods is now in the hands of its new owners, and Drexel Burnham Lambert has cemented its reputation as a major player in the world of high-stakes finance. But for Black, the success of the Beatrice Foods deal is just the beginning. He has firmly established his reputation as a deal maker and now sets his sights on even bigger and bolder ventures, eager to prove that he is truly one of the greatest financial minds of his generation. But little does Black know, his hard-fought victory is about to collapse like a house of cards. Michael Milken is not one to play by the rules. For him, the end always justifies the means. But the pillars of Milken's mighty empire are already crumbling beneath the weight of their own corruption, and Leon Black will soon find himself in the eyes of a raging storm. On the 12th of May, Dennis Levin, a managing director in Drexel's M&A department, is charged with insider trading.
Like the day in 1985, Levine traded on inside information in Nabisco stock.
Making 2 phone calls, I made close to $3 million. And that's what drove it. That was the insanity of it all. It wasn't that hard. You get bolder and bolder and bolder, and it gets easier, and you make more money, and it feeds upon itself. And looking back, I realized that I was sick, that it became an addiction. That I lived for the high of making those trades, of doing the next deal, making the bigger deal.
Levin pleads guilty to 4 felony charges and provides information to the authorities implicating partner Ivan Boesky in similar illegal activities.
In other news today, the biggest name in Wall Street's insider trading scandal, Ivan Boesky, has finally appeared in court. He made hundreds of millions of dollars by buying and selling in companies just as they were about to be taken over. But Boesky used inside information, as you know. First he paid a fine, and now he faces time in prison.
It was a grim-faced Ivan Boesky who entered the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan today. Under an agreement with prosecutors, he pled guilty to a criminal charge of filing false information with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
When approached with a plea deal, Boesky offers the kingpin to the SEC, Michael Milken.
Boesky, facing several lifetimes in prison, makes a deal with prosecutors. That includes accusing Milken of wrongdoing.
Armed with the information provided by Boesky, the SEC launched their investigation into Milken. As the investigation heats up, Leon Black finds himself in a nerve-wracking situation. Leon's promising career teeters on the edge of destruction, with the media hounding him relentlessly. His every move is scrutinized as he fights to salvage his reputation, fortune, and freedom. With the threat of prison looming, the stakes have never been higher.
In March of 1989, a grand jury indicts Milken on 98 felony counts. Among the charges, conspiracy under the racketeering laws, fraud in the sale of securities, and insider trading, using privileged information to make a profit at the expense of other investors. But finally, 3 years after the start of the investigation, his lawyers said he would plea bargain. Can also agree to pay $600 million in fines and restitution. But how much time he would spend in jail was a matter for the judge. She shocked Milken and rocked Wall Street by imposing a jail sentence of 10 years.
Leon Black watches in horror as his mentor and friend, Michael Milken, is cuffed and escorted to prison. Milken pleads guilty to 6 felony counts and is sentenced to 10 years in prison, a severe punishment for a man who has been at the top for so long. The once mighty Drexel Burnham Lambert crashes and burns, consumed by the flames of scandal and corruption.
Once upon a time in the 80s, 4 men nearly destroyed Wall Street. Who were those 4 men?
At the lower end is Dennis Levine, an investment banker who was accused by the SEC of making $12.6 million in insider trading profits. Next up the rung, Martin Siegel. Then there was his co-conspirator, Ivan Boesky. And finally there was Michael Milken, the junk bond king.
The question of whether or not Leon Black is innocent in the Milken scandal remains complex and unresolved. While he's not been implicated in any illegal activities related to the scandal, he did work closely under Milken's wing. Many wonder if he is a shrewd and calculating businessman who knows how to toe the line without crossing it. Some speculate that Black's focus on the business side of things may have kept him from getting involved in the more illicit activities of Milken and his associates. The question remains, did Black play a role in Milken's illegal empire, or was he smart enough to not get caught up in the schemes? Despite the fallout from the collapse, Leon Black refuses to be held back. He emerges from the ashes of the Drexel bankruptcy with a fire in his belly, determined to rebuild and reclaim his position as a titan of the finance industry. Leon Black is now a man on a mission to build one of the largest financial institutions ever, Apollo Global Management. Deep in the heart of Wall Street, Leon Black, along with other former Drexel employees Joshua Harris and Mark Rowan, are plotting to disrupt the private equity landscape forever. Driven by an insatiable hunger for wealth and power, they found Apollo Global Management in 1990.
I spent 13 years at Drexel Burnham Lambert, rocket ship, going all over the universe, and then the last year was a disaster as the rocket crashed and burned. Out of those ashes, my partners and I founded Apollo about 4 months after Drexel's bankruptcy.
A company that embodies the very essence of high finance: bold, brash, and utterly ruthless. The early 1990s are a time of upheaval in the American economy as the nation struggles to emerge from a deep recession. But Leon Black sees this as a time of opportunity.
There were a lot of undervalued situations that existed going into a recession, a lot of distressed situations with very good assets.
2 words: distressed assets, the discarded parts of companies that have fallen on hard times.
Good companies with bad balance sheets.
With prices at an all-time low and opportunities abundant, the hunt is on for Apollo to turn these underdogs into winners.
There were just a lot of undervalued situations that if you bought up the debt, you'd either make money on the debt or you would end up owning the companies.
Within 6 months after the collapse of Drexel, Apollo launches the Apollo Investment Fund LP, the first of its private equity investment funds, and Black and his team set out to make their mark on the world of distressed investing. Armed with $400 million in investor commitments, they are betting on their own reputation and expertise to turn struggling companies into gold mines. But as the financial world reels from the aftershock of the recession, little financing is available for the daring new ventures known as leveraged buyouts. But Apollo refuses to be held back by the constraints of convention. Instead, they go ahead with a bold new strategy: the distressed to control takeover. They set their sights on the most distressed of securities, determined to turn them into the price of a lifetime. But their real genius lies in what comes next, taking control of the very companies they had set their sights on. With each new acquisition, they grow stronger, more powerful, and more feared. And as their portfolio expands to include iconic brands like Vail Resorts, Walter Industries, and Culligan, the financial world watches in awe, knowing that a new king has risen to claim the throne. But the road to the top is never smooth, and with every new challenge, Leon Black must prove his worth and fight for his place at the table. Apollo acquires interests in companies that Drexel had helped finance by purchasing high-yield bonds from failed savings, loans, and insurance companies. Their latest venture involves the acquisition of Executive Life Insurance Company's bond portfolio, a move that can make or break the company. It is a risky move, but Black and his team are willing to take the chance. It isn't smooth sailing. They have to navigate a complex web of regulatory issues and government scrutiny. One false move and their entire operation can come crashing down. But against all odds, Apollo emerges victorious. They purchase the Executive Life portfolio, and when the value of high-yield bonds finally recovers, they reap the rewards. The Executive Life deal is a turning point for Apollo, and it cements their reputation as daring and successful investors.
Are they the reincarnation of Drexel, Burnham, Lambert?
There are things they took from Drexel that really helped them into their time at Apollo, but Apollo is known as one of the biggest private equity firms in the world.
Their third private equity fund, Apollo Investment Fund 3, is an instant success, raising a jaw-dropping $1.5 billion from some of the biggest investors in the world, including the General Motors Pension Fund. But they are just getting started. The firm's investment strategies expand to include everything from real estate and energy to healthcare, and they are making waves across various industries. Black and his team have an uncanny ability to identify undervalued assets and transform them into wildly profitable investments, leaving their competitors in the dust. The result? Apollo rises to become one of the most successful private equity firms of the 1990s and 2000s. Their name synonymous with bold investments and lucrative returns. In 2010, they make their biggest acquisition to date, buying Dutch chemical company LyondellBasell for a whopping $19 billion. This set the stage for their global expansion. In 2013, they acquire McGraw-Hill Education, a major player in the education industry, In 2016, they acquire ADT, a top-tier provider of security and automation solutions for homes and businesses, and as Apollo makes its move into the lucrative home security market, Leon Black stands at the helm, filled with an intoxicating sense of power and invincibility. His unparalleled leadership and shrewd investment tactics have transformed Apollo Global Management from a mere blip on the radar into a juggernaut. It seems to Black that he is invincible, but a shadowy secret threatens to bring him crashing down. The world is about to witness a catastrophic fall from grace unlike anything they've ever seen before.
Billionaire businessman Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New York Saturday on federal charges related to sex trafficking.
Breaking news, billionaire Jeffrey Epstein arrested on new sex trafficking charges. The accusations date back to the 2000s and involve alleged crimes in New York and Palm Beach, Florida.
In 2021 comes the bombshell revelation that rocks the financial world to its core.
Leon Black paid something like $158 million to Epstein over the course of 2012 to 2017.
Leon Black wired Epstein about $50 million in 2008 after Epstein was convicted of soliciting prostitution from teenage girls.
The news sends shockwaves through the world. The public outrage is palpable and the media frenzy relentless as new details of Leon Black's association with Epstein, the very same people who once lauded Black as a titan of finance, now vilify him as an enabler of one of the most notorious sex offenders in modern history. The fallout from his association with Epstein has plunged him into a never-ending nightmare of shame, regret, and desperation. His once pristine reputation has been shattered beyond repair, leaving him with nothing but the wreckage of his former life. Leon Black fights an uphill battle to clear his name and redeem his reputation as he faces the uncomfortable truths about his past and the questionable decisions that led him down this perilous path.
That Leon Black will step down as its CEO, this coming after an investigation into Black's dealings with Jeffrey Epstein.
As the dust settles on this explosive scandal, we are left with a sobering moral. The darker the secrets, the greater the price to pay. Sometimes the darkness lurking in the shadows of one's past can have catastrophic consequences, even for those at the pinnacle of power and success. This story serves as a stark reminder that even those with wealth, power, and status can be brought down by their past. So build your past carefully, brethren.